An interesting change to monthly checks. I have all the details for you in this video. Let's get into it right now. But really fast before we do, if you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe by hitting that button right down below the video. It's totally free to do so, and so I can keep you updated each and every day during this very busy time as information continues to change very, very rapidly. I'm doing all the research so that you don't need to, and I break it all down into these short videos, which I deliver a couple times each and every day so that you can get the latest details hot off the wire as this information is being released. So again, thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. My dedication to you and this community is to be here for you, right by your side every single day, helping you navigate this very busy and confusing time. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Subscribe down below and let's jump right into the video. All right, so I do want to point out an interesting observation on monthly checks, something I've noticed here over the last 4 or 5 months or so compared to about the last year and a half. So I want to talk through this, and I also want to discuss what they are now talking about as of recently and how this all relates to low income, fixed income, checks, monthly checks, and all this other business that we talk about here on the channel. All right, so let's get into this. So if you've been watching the videos here on the channel for any length of time now, you know for probably about the last year and a half, probably even longer than that, we've been seeing on a very regular basis programs like guaranteed basic income programs, which are essentially just monthly checks that are being sent out on a long-term basis, usually a year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe even 5 years in some instances. These programs have been popping up left and right since about mid-2020. So almost 2 years now, we've been seeing these programs pop up on a very regular basis. So if you've been watching the channel since probably the first half or so of maybe 2021 or so, until about, I want to say maybe like September-ish time of 2021, again, maybe September or October, around then, you saw on a regular basis, I was back with you every week. I was pointing out maybe 2, maybe 3 of these guaranteed basic income programs that were popping up on a weekly basis all across the country. In fact, California, I think, probably has the most of these programs. California has a ton of these guaranteed basic income programs. But either way, they were popping up all across the country. North, south, east, west, everywhere you looked, these programs were popping up in multiple different states. But here's what's interesting about it. For the most part, with the exception of a few programs popping up maybe over the last, I don't know, again, maybe 4, maybe 5 months or so, with the exception of just a small handful of these programs, I haven't really seen much of these popping up, which is kind of interesting because I want to say for probably the first, I don't know, 8 to maybe 9 months of 2021, these programs were popping up all over the place, like literally every single week. I was coming back to you with a new program that was just being announced that week. So, but what's interesting is maybe, again, I'm just kind of guessing on the timeline here. I'm not really sure how far this goes back, but maybe since maybe like October, November of last year up until now, I've only seen a very small handful of these programs pop up. Maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 of them in total, which is kind of weird considering where we came from the first 8, 9 months or so of 2021. These programs were all over the place, and now they're here, they're in place. They've already found, or they've already chosen all the beneficiaries of the programs. The programs are rolling out, and these beneficiaries are getting the money on an ongoing basis. That's what's really cool about the programs. But here's what's interesting now. So as of recently, the last few weeks here, the conversation has changed a little bit. So we went from a conversation of them talking about monthly checks specified for certain groups of people. So a lot of times, well, no, let me take that back. Not a lot of times, every single time, these guaranteed basic income programs are focused on low income. Sometimes it's focused on men, sometimes it's focused on women, sometimes it's focused on women with kids, sometimes it's focused on young adults. You know, there's a variety of different people that are eligible for these programs. There's always different criteria for who is actually eligible for them. But here's what's interesting. Over the last couple weeks here, the conversation has changed quite a bit from monthly checks, as in these guaranteed basic income programs, which were popping up all over the place, and we saw very limited talk about stimulus checks. Remember that? Through the course of maybe the second half or so of 2021, there was not much talk about stimulus checks. There were hiring bonuses, there were sign-on bonuses, there were, again, the guaranteed basic income programs, there were, all kinds of different programs on the state level Remember the lotteries? Do you remember that from last year? All the lottery programs, there were states popping up left and right with lottery programs. Do you remember all that stuff? Yeah. Well, that was just another thing. So there were all of these programs, last year, that maybe the second half of 2021, but yet there was very minimal talk about stimulus checks. However, here's what's interesting. Over the last couple of weeks here, there's been a lot of increased talk about stimulus checks, not only on the state level, but Congress as well, lawmakers in Congress, as well as advisors and economists that maybe advise Congress, things like this, that have a high influence and high impact. Even they've been talking a lot about direct payments, stimulus checks. So here's what's interesting about the conversation as of recently, the last few weeks here. There's been a shift from monthly checks, otherwise known as guaranteed basic income programs, and all of these other, programs out there like we just went through, up till now where we're talking once again about direct checks, right? Stimulus checks, tax rebates, tax credits, vouchers, all of these programs like this. So it's kind of interesting to see the conversation somewhat changed. The mindset behind this has changed. So I guess we could look at it and think, what's better? Would you rather have a monthly check program? But here's the thing about monthly check programs like guaranteed basic income. Until we get some kind of national program, a nationwide program that stretches across the entire country and it's administered by the federal government, we're probably likely going to continue having these state programs, right? So they're administered on the state level, and a lot of times it's certain counties, maybe certain cities or certain locations around a state. So it's a really highly focused group of people that'd be eligible for those checks. However, a nationwide program would be pretty cool, right? A nationwide monthly check program would be all-encompassing all of the states, all the districts, all the territories, things like that within the United States, right? Versus a state-by-state level. So anyway, as of recently, we've been hearing a lot more talk about direct payments, direct checks, vouchers, things like this. So I guess it all comes down to, what would you rather have? Maybe the chance of getting in on a monthly check program if one happens to come to town, wherever you're located, or would you rather have Congress talking about a widespread stimulus check or voucher type program that also may be redeemable for cash, if you heard about that as well? Maybe one of these options that would actually be a widespread kind of like nationwide type of program. So kind of an interesting talk here because it's been a while since Congress has said essentially anything about stimulus checks, and now here we are going down that road again. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing, provided we can come together with Congress and get them to actually do something, get them to approve something, get them to get behind one of these ideas of stimulus checks, and ultimately ratchet that a dollar amount up. They've been playing with some pretty small numbers here recently. A couple $100s, yeah, cool. A couple $100, that'd be nice for about 3 minutes until we spend it all in about, like I said, probably 3 minutes. It would not take very long to spend a couple $100s anymore these days. That's maybe a tank of gas and a small cart full of groceries. That's about all you're going to get for a couple $100s these days, right? But anyway, there's a lot of talk out there right now. It's kind of encouraging. I've mentioned this before in other videos, but I do think this is very encouraging right now. The path that Congress is starting to go down once again. And we'll have to see what Congress does. And we do know for one thing, they want to get another reconciliation bill done here within the next few months. That's very encouraging as well. Because remember, reconciliation bill is one of those that can be passed through Congress with just Democratic support, simply because they have full control of the chambers and, of course, the presidency. Therefore, they can play these cards if they just so want to do so. And they could get a lot of things done if they wanted to, just like the $1.9 trillion package that they passed back in March of 2021 that contained a whole big goodie bag, a grab bag with all kinds of stuff in there, including a $1,400 check. Remember that one? Yeah, of course we do. We can't forget that one, right? Yeah, I think we all remember that one. Yeah, it's pretty. That was a pretty nice time. Anyway, I wanted to point this out for you because, like I said, I do a lot of research on this stuff. I'm literally watching the moving parts on this every single day. I'm watching it all very closely. I'm breaking it all down in these videos. And I saw this and I thought, this is a little bit of an interesting shift here. The last couple of weeks we've been hearing a lot of talk about direct payments, stimulus checks, and it's been a long time since we've heard any substantial information about any of these guaranteed basic income programs. I did see one the other day. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember the name of the city. I tried opening up the article and cross-referencing it a couple times, and I wasn't able to find anything too substantial about it. And I thought, I'm just not really going to talk about it because I like to cross-reference all my information. If I can't find anything substantial in a couple different sources, I kind of toss it out and throw it away because I want to make sure that the information that I bring you is honest, accurate, reliable, and transparent, so that if you feel the need to do so, or if you want to, feel free to fact check anything that I talk about. You can find it all right online, which is exactly where I find it as well, across multiple different sources that I look at every single day. So anyway, just an interesting observation. Wanted to throw it out there for you. And hopefully Congress will do something here soon. But realistically, what I think we really need at this point is a nationwide guaranteed basic income program specifically focused on the low income in the amount of anywhere between $300 and $500 each and every month, ongoing for a minimum of 12 months. If it were up to me, that's exactly what I would do. I'd maybe get everybody started with maybe a $1,200, maybe a $1,400 one-time check, and then ongoing after that, I'd say, hey, everybody, here's what you got going for you. I'd say $300 to $500 is the magical number, the magical range, and I'd say basically everybody that's low income, fixed income, you'd be getting that for an ongoing 12-month rolling basis until we can get beyond this massive mountain of inflation. So anyway, that's what I would do. It'd be super simple if I were in control. That's all I would do. So easy. One big check to get everybody started, and then some ongoing payments, because I know that's what this community needs. Anyway, maybe there'll be a someday that I'm in control, but honestly, probably not, because I'm just honestly not really that interested in doing that. I wish, but just not really interested in going down that road right now anyway. Who knows? Maybe that'll change at some point when I just get completely sick and tired of all of the games that Congress plays. Anyway, we can talk about that in a separate video. All right, anyway, hope you're doing well. Thanks again for watching this. I truly do appreciate it. Please subscribe down below. I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can. Go back and check out any of the other 2,300 videos here on the channel. Feel free to share this one or any others here on the channel with your friends, family, social media. Enjoy your day. Stay safe out there. Subscribe down below, and I'll catch you again later in the next one. I'll see you for now. Enjoy.